Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we'd do a bit of a eBay pickups type video. I've got a few things that have come in, I've picked up off eBay, and I thought we'd have a quick look at them in this video, and I'll probably do like longer videos on them in the future. This is literally just a quick little see what I've got kind of video. And I think we'll start with the something I got from China. Just a bit of fun, this really. I'm slightly disappointed with it in one way, but hopefully I can do something about that. And what it is just get rid of the packaging. It's this, and it's a little auto scan radio. It's a kit radio, so it's all ready to assemble. But the reason I bought this and what I liked about it is it's all surface mount. It's all SMT technology, and I really want to get a little bit better with doing surface mount stuff, because I've got a project coming up where I'm going to need to be able to do some quite neat and tidy, tiny little surface mount soldering. So I got that kit to practice really, and I thought it was just a cool little thing. It was only about £3 delivered from China, so it wasn't exactly expensive. The only problem I found with it is doesn't appear to be any instructions in there. Literally, you seem to have got the case, all the gubbins to build it together, but there are no instructions actually in the pack, so I'm going to have to trail back through all my eBay stuff, see if I can find where I got this from, and see if they've got a link to some instructions on the downloads page, or at least contact the seller and see if I can find some instructions on how to put it together. But I'll do that in an upcoming video anyway, if I can get some instructions on how it goes together. We can have some fun perhaps putting that together on a video. Anyway, so that's one thing that I picked up. These are other things which are a bit more down our street. We've got some vintage computing bits in here. We'll start with this one here. Now, I saw this on eBay, and I knew if I bid on it I would be the only bidder, and I just couldn't see it probably end up going to landfill. It's such an interesting thing really. Basically what it is, we open it up, it's a homemade EEPROM programmer and EEPROM reader for the BBC Micro. Now this is a complete 100% DIY affair. Someone obviously needed the use of an EEPROM programmer back in the BBC's day, and you know, probably couldn't afford to buy one because they were quite expensive, so they built their own. And I've not even done anything with this. I don't even know whether it's going to be possible to get it to work, because being this is really only half of it, there should be some software on the BBC to actually run this. Hopefully what I'm hoping is this was like a project in, say, one of the electronics magazines, and there's a basic listing or something like that I could perhaps get hold of. Or it's a copy of a someone else's programmer, and there may be a ROM about. Someone may have taken a basic program that they got out of a magazine and actually burned it to a ROM. That might be on an archive somewhere. I will need some software probably to actually see if I can get this thing to work, but I just had to have it. I mean, I only paid a couple of quid for it. I think I paid like £2.50 for it or something. But we've got basically we've got the two lines here, which is labelled user port and printer port. So that, and looking at the connections, it pretty much does identify it that it's BBC Micro. But if we look on the top of it, this is the cool thing. Well, we can see where the person's wrote all the instructions on how to actually use the thing. We've got this double switch here, which is just two switches linked by a piece of metal. So we've got a read mode and a write mode. We've got some basic, very basic 74 series logic here. We've obviously got the IC socket to program the chip, and this is designed to program 27128s and 2764s. We see EEPROM programmer 27128 plus 2764 only. Then we've got caution, switch to read when inserting orientating ROM. And then I love this at the bottom, orientate chip with pin 1 up there, and then underneath we have failure to observe is expensive. So obviously, if you put that in wrong, there's no safety on this or anything. You're going to fry something. But I just think it's really, really cool. Obviously, it's got its own power supply. It's actually quite heavy, so I'm guessing there's a transformer inside here somewhere, and obviously it comes with a mains plug. I've not even attempted to plug this in yet. I'll leave that for another video where we actually do a mini teardown on this thing and actually see what makes it tick. The circuitry looks incredibly simple. I can't even see any crystals or anything. We've got a basic rectifier here. We've got a transistor, we've got some resistors, caps. That looks ancient. That looks like it's been salvaged from somewhere. I think it's either a cap or a diode. We've got some LEDs. It's all very, very simple. And if we look underneath, there's even some more printing under there. We'll get into this when we actually do the proper teardown of it, but it looks like a lot of this is done on wire wrap, which is quite a cool, very old technique for making prototype boards and stuff like that. So anyway, that's one of the interesting little things that I've picked up. I'll put that to one side for now. So I really would like to at least see if we can possibly get some software for that, and possibly get that. I'll put it back in its box so it keeps it safe. So I would like to see if we can possibly get some software for it, and at least get it to perhaps read and possibly even write an EEPROM. The first EEPROM program I ever used was on a BBC Micro, and I used that when I was at school. So I'm going back quite a few years. Right, I'll put that to one side for now, and we'll get on to the next thing which I picked up. And I got two things from the same seller. And he was a really nice chap actually, because I think they both had like about £4 postage on them. And I got both items for 99p each, and he actually put them both in one box and refunded me the postage on the second item. So I only paid like £6 for this lot. I paid 99p each for the two items, and then £4 postage, something like that. And what I got for my money, apart from a nice sturdy box which will come in handy, we'll start with this first. What we've got here is we've got a ISA prototyping card. Now it looks like, obviously it's used, it looks like someone has been designing something on here and possibly given up part way through, possibly this as far as they need to go with this actual design. I don't know. I've no idea actually what it was intended to do. We've got a crystal up there, obviously we've got some empty IC sockets and a set of dip switches there, all connected up, as we can see, with all this really fine wire. It's all point to point wired. Then at the back here, if we can see, we've also got another very old components used. I mean, these components must have been aging when they were actually put on this board. They look 70s vintage to me. Some of them aren't particularly well soldered on. And then we have this at the back, which I haven't got a clue. I'm not sure what that is. Could someone have been trying to build a modem? I don't know. We've got a big beefy capacitor there. We've got a matching transformer. I'm sure I've seen something like that in modems before now. I'm not 100% sure. I wonder if someone was trying to build a modem or something like that. But anyway, the reason I bought this was actually for the card. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to desolder all what's on here. So I've got a nice blank 8-bit ISA prototyping card, really just to keep as a really cool piece of history. I mean, I could possibly leave this. No, I don't think I will leave any of this stuff on, because I don't know what it does, and it's the card I was really interested in, because I haven't seen these things for years and years. I would actually like to possibly draw this back up. I mean, another reason I got this is I thought I could possibly, now I've got it, take dimensions off it and draw it back up and actually get some boards made that I can play with, perhaps making some of my own cards for the PC, for at least for the PC XT. I really work on the 80, just 8-bit. I'm not too bothered about the 16 bits. I had an idea of perhaps making my own copy of an ad-lib card, doing something similar. Actually, you know, literally hand wiring it just for the fun of it. So if I do make some copies of these, I might have a few boards spun and see what I can do with them. So yeah, like I said, another interesting little thing to pick up, and what I paid for it, I was quite pleased to get hold of that. Anyway, I'll show you the last thing I got. Like I said, this was from the same seller, and that's this. What we've got here, we've got the motherboard. I'll just put some anti-static on, seeing he was good enough to actually put it in a static bag. I'll just static up. What we've got here, this is the main board out of an old Amstrad PCW word processor. And the reason I got this is I've got this notion about turning this into a little computer again. Because the nice thing about the old Amstrad PCWs is they run CPM. And I thought I'd try and make my own I've got some CPM machines, and I do mess about every now and again with like CPM and stuff like that. And I thought what I may do is try and build this into a little CPM computer. So I've got everything I really need here. I think it's got, it's either got 128 or 256k of RAM there. You don't really need more than 64k for CPM. It's got the Z80 CPU, disk drive control, obviously the ROM. I think that's the ASIC. It's a bit like UULA there. It's very, very similar to actually what's used in the Amstrad plus 2As and plus 3s, at least in appearance. It's the same type of IC used. It's probably programmed differently, but it's certainly the same type of affair going on, and that will be all the glue logic basically, because you've got very little else glue logic wise around here. A little bit of 74 series logic down there, a little bit up here. I'm guessing that will be something to do with the keyboard, and that's the other problem that I'll have with this, is this is all I've got. And to make a computer out of it, this is mostly what I need. Like I say, I've got the RAM, the processor, everything. This is for the disk drive. I'll probably get this thing to run with a 3.5 inch and a 5.25 inch disk drive, because like I say, if I can get this to run CPM, it'd be really, really handy as a bit of a tweener computer to be able to, for me to get stuff off my PC, put it on 3.5 inch floppy disk, be able to run it and play with it on this, and also copy it off this onto a 5.25 inch floppy disk to run on some of my rather aged CPM machines. Most of my CPM machines are date from around 1980. As well, like I said, this is a little bit later. I think this is about 1986 and 1987. I don't think I'll have to do too much to it. Obviously, I've got to find out where the power inputs is for it, and feed it some power. I think it'll probably just need 5 volts to run up. We've got a video output there, so I'll have to, I'm presuming we've probably got composite on there. At least I'm hoping we've got composite on there. If not, we'll find out what the video signal actually is that it's using, and we'll get a video output of it from it there. Then our main problem is going to be the keyboard. I don't have an Amstrad PCW keyboard, and basically that would be the best possible thing to have, would be to have a just a standard Amstrad PCW keyboard and connect it up and be able to use that. Every time I see them go on eBay, they seem to go for quite a lot of money, far more than I'm willing to pay just for a keyboard. So I'll possibly see what we can do about making, getting another keyboard and perhaps modifying it to work. I don't know whether that's possible. I know it uses a keyboard controller inside the keyboard. I don't know whether it's anything custom and standardised towards the PCW, or it's something fairly generic, and we can perhaps just do a little bit of rewiring and get it to work. I know we've got plus 5 volts ground, I think, a clock signal and a data signal, and that's all that basically we use for the keyboard on this. So like I said, we'll have to look at that and see what we can possibly get working. I know I've got a Amstrad, is it the, which one is it? It's the the PC version, I think it's a 640, was it the PC 640 or 1640, something like that. I think I've got a keyboard off one of them kicking about somewhere, which I know is not IBM PC XT compatible. So I'm wondering whether it might be possible to get that to work on this. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, actually I'm going to leave it there for now. This was literally just a little look at some things I've got and some things I've got for some future projects. Like I said, I've got a few future projects in the pipeline at the moment. But I'm certainly going to possibly have a play with this and see at least in one video whether we can get it hooked up and get in it to at least display something on the screen, and then we'll possibly take it from there. I don't even know if this thing works. If it doesn't work, unless it's that's gone, I don't think that we'll have too many problems actually repairing it. Anyway, like I say, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed that little ramble and have a look at what I've got coming up and got in the pipeline. So, thanks for watching and goodbye.